So Jane and I get the HE double hockey stick out of Los Angeles and back to Northern California for literally all of a week or two because we had to get back to LA. Jane was still enrolled at UCLA. Both of our names were still on the apartment, right? So when you're in school, when you're in college, like your life pretty much revolves around the university. At least mine did the entire time I was at you. Like that became my new home, right? So it was not my home anymore because I had dropped out, of course, but I'll get to that. I just remember the time in Northern California. I'm not even going to say the name of the city or the town, with Jane's family as being very supportive, very quality. Jane's parents have money. Jane's parents are wealthy. They were always very smart with their money. But anytime that we came to visit, they rolled out the red carpet for us. And I guess this is what they were used to growing up, but this is certainly not what I was used to. Like going out to eat, like literally whenever, right? Because you just have the money to do that. I had already spent at least one Christmas with them, and I think this would have been the second or third one. I'm still not communicating with my family at this point. And they were very generous. They were very generous, nice, solid people. I can't honestly have anything bad to say about her parents. They treated me very well. They did. And I'll never forget that they had this huge like outdoor kitchen and pizza oven, and they'd invite people over and have like these big pizza parties, and they were like a very social like family involved in the community, not just with their time but with their money. Again, I have nothing bad to say about her family, I promise you, especially given everything that they had just recently gone through. Keep that in mind as well. So, but anyway, I just, again, back to what I was getting is that I remember that first like dinner, that meal that we all had together. Um, we were kind of talking about what had just happened, right? With me being locked up in the hospital. And I remember Jane's mother turning to me and saying, like, if that ever happens again, like, just make sure you get on the phone with me. Like, give me a call. Like, we'll clear that up. And I don't know if it was the same meal. I think it was at the same dinner table where she made another comment, asking where my dad's side is, just to make it easy, half Italian and half Irish. Our last name, we can trace it back to Ireland, but it was actually the Italian side that moved to San Francisco in 1865. Not that any of that matters, but she made the comment that, oh, if you and Jane have kids one day, they'll be mostly Irish. So, so anyway, I just remember feeling very supported, this very like accepted. And again, I didn't at this time feel like I had my own family. I won't say anything more. I won't expand on that. But I very much felt accepted and a part of Jane's family. So that was our time in Northern California. It was awesome. It was great. Um, and then we went back to LA. We went back to Los Angeles, where I had some loose ends I needed to clear up because I had dropped out third quarter, right? So I was not a student, or spring quarter, so I was not a student anymore. That meant that I had to scramble because I would no longer be getting any kind of access to loans or financial aid. Which, by the way, loans or financial aid and loans, they're basically the same thing. The grant money is actually very, very, very small. And it's just a drop in the bucket compared to how expensive it is to actually go to college, okay? So just so y'all know that. But anyway. So I moved back, right? We went back to Los Angeles. I remember having a tiny little nest egg built up, right? Tiny little amount. And I used that money to put a deposit on a new apartment. So I found an apartment I'm actually going to say the stats of the apartment because you'll never find a deal like this in LA ever again. And I knew I had such a good deal that I literally whipped out my checkbook and wrote a check on the spot, back when you could do that, back before there were like all these insane credit checks and application fees. But this apartment, if you know Los Angeles, was not that far from the federal building. Not that far from the federal building on Ohio at the intersection with Butler. Okay? Very close to Santa Monica. About a mile away from UCLA campus. Again, didn't matter because I wasn't a student there anymore. Folks, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 3 parking spots, $1,800. I whipped out my checkbook, signed that deposit, handed the check to the person. And I remember we were kind of shaking hands, because I was their newest tenant. And the next person was coming to see the apartment, and she was nice enough to show it to them. But I was like, that's my place. She's already got my check, right? And so my housing was taken care of, right? The only thing left to figure out was how the HE double hockey stick was I going to support myself now that I was no longer in school. And I figured something out. And I'll tell you about what that was, how that happened in the next video.